Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people hate reading. This month's theme is Robin Williams dramas, so I picked the movie Good Morning Vietnam. We talk about Firefly Episode 4, and I bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Preston.
Hey, and the old guy's here this time. Sorry about last week.
So James, what's this movie about?
Well, according to IMDb, it's about an unorthodox and irreverent DJ begins to shake up things when he is assigned to the U.S. Armed Service radio station in Vietnam. And that does not have a comma anywhere.
Poor grammar should be shake things up.
Welcome to This Week in Grammatical Errors.
Right back to standard IMDb.
Anyway, I enjoyed this movie, and I did. I like it. Even though the fact that, according to the real Adrian Cronauer, this movie is only 45% accurate, which is highballing it. But I enjoyed it.
It was Robin Williams being funny.
Yeah, it was just him doing his thing.
It was a delivery method for his brand of comedy. Is pretty much what it was.
Well, every time he was on the air, every bit of that was ad-libbed. There was no script written for that.
Well,
that was normal for him.
Yeah, that is normal for him.
I still love the Ethel Merman bit because I wonder, as time goes on, if anybody actually knows who that is.
You know, there was a doctor who performed the autopsy on Einstein who stole Einstein's brain to make slides out of it.
Right.
I want somebody to have been able to do that with Robin Williams' brain because his brain is wired so differently than everybody else's. Swear to God. Like, if you had actually slowed down every little bit he did while he was on air, there was a joke every half a second.
Yeah, I don't
Pretty
know.
much.
He does it. And particularly that scene where he's not on the air, but they're in their Jeep and there's the troops all around him, right? And he just puts on it. They put him on the spot and say, "Okay, be funny," and he just does the whole shtick. And it's just that was just an amazing scene.
That one is an amazing scene. That's actually probably my favorite scene in this entire movie.
And I want to cut in a little bit because I actually, oddly enough, love the cast from Robin Williams, Forrest Whitaker, Robert Wool, Noble Willingham, and there was, I don't remember the name, the lieutenant who ended up playing in the movie. He was in City Slickers.
Yeah, everybody salute me.
And he was a pretty good character actor. They played off really well. Like, normally I think Forrest Whitaker's really goofy, but I actually think in this role it actually helped his character.
His laugh gets annoying though. Every few seconds.
Well,
the one scene where he, right after he gets off the air for the first time and they're all sitting down and the lieutenant is going off on him.
I love that part.
There's that part where he does that whole PT, KP, VP, that whole thing right there.
Yeah.
I just wonder if he did that one off the cuff.
He had to have.
Or if he had memorized it, because if you had tried to memorize that line, you know how many times you would have screwed that up?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Definitely he's quick enough to come up with that kind of thing. I mean, that's what he does.
He is, but
Turn a camera on and let him go.
Yeah, just the delivery that he did off that was just amazing.
One of the problems with doing this theme is that it's so kind of sad that he's not here with us because if there was a man that could make me laugh, it was Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And,
so here's the line that James was talking about. It says, "Excuse me, sir, seeing how the VIP is such a, excuse me."
The VP is such a VIP.
See, he's reading it and he's already screwing it up.
Right? Yeah. It's complicated.
Take three.
It is.
Excuse me, sir. Seeing how the VP is such a VIP, shouldn't we keep the PC and the QT? Because at least the VC could end up MIA, and then we all put up KP. Which, by the way, is really hard to freaking read without actually practicing it.
Exactly.
So, the fact he was able to say that, by the way, really fast. If you watch the delivery, that was a very short bit.
Yeah.
Just that section.
I think the reactions of all the other actors, because you could actually see in that moment that all the other actors were actually impressed off
absolutely.
of that. It's kind of like just, wow.
And it was amazing how the LT, the guy doing that, was able to keep a straight face the whole time. That movie must have taken twice as long to shoot than any other movie at the time.
They had to have he had to have them rolling.
And this wasn't filmed in Vietnam
had
is.
it a little easier just because he was actually supposed to kind of laugh at his,
Right.
his jokes.
Right.
The lieutenant, though, really, that guy had to have not been doing well.
No.
In front of him.
I bet he was
Or the
biting his tongue.
sergeant, master sergeant.
Yeah, and he looks
That guy.
so young in this movie. What was this? 80. This was released in 88.
87, yeah.
It says January 15th to 88 is what IMDb has it down as. So he was what, 30?
Robin Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 30 or something when they did this one. It's amazing how young he actually looked.
Yeah, he was young.
He still looks like he's middle-aged, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he never looked old. He just looked the same age. 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, with different facial hair.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Exact same face, different facial hair, and different shades of gray.
Right.
And I think the reason I love this movie, honestly, is the juxtaposition of Robin Williams and Tong, the guy who was a
Fong.
VC.
Mm-hmm.
I love that juxtaposition
kid.
because they kind of both knew, I'm assuming, what they were, especially the VC guy, and you notice he had enveloped a really good friendship with Robin Williams and actually cared for him on some level.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, he did because he went out and saved him.
Yeah, he went out and saved him when
Yeah.
the bomb was supposed to go off.
That's right.
So that's why I liked it, because you saw Robin Williams actually fall in love with the people, even his enemies, but he still knew that, hey, we're here to fight the enemies. And the best scene of that was the bomb scene in the bar, when it was the first time he actually saw the effects of Vietnam.
Yeah.
Hopefully that made sense.
What's
It
funny
slowly
is
did.
You start watching this movie knowing it's about, a Vietnam thing, but this radio broadcast, so you're not really kind of wondering what's going on. Movie starts and you're like, oh, this is going to be hysterical.
Yeah.
A mile a minute, Robin Williams being one of those people where you're telling your friends to shut up from laughing so you can hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
This
And then it really does kind of, in a couple of scenes, take this weird genre twist.
well, I think this
the background and the setting's always there in Vietnam, but it's really, curtained up with.
It's in the rear with the gear.
I'll be honest. I think the only thing I've ever seen like this is the MASH TV show, the later part of the series, before it got, after it got away from all the more slapstick era. It balanced really well, and I think this is what this. Okay, mute time. I think this is what this actually fit, was able to, in a serious background, have bits of comedy and yet still show the very deep emotion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I think it's because all of those moments, the hysterical first half an hour of the movie.
And this
really
was
does
also
set you
this was
up
also
for
his.
for
Sorry,
what goes on,
our phone a friend also said this was also his first Academy Award nomination.
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not friend.
That makes sense.
The other thing is that not only do you get to see Robin Williams kind of do some drama and comedy in the same bit, but you also get to see him fight. This is one of the rare times where you actually see him
that's
fight
right. That's
in
right.
film. Surprisingly, you used his head.
Which I thought was
You
funny.
know. But yeah, you're right. There
Only
is-
worked once.
It did only work once.
That's awesome.
But there was the thing of him kind of taking it seriously. But the thing that I find interesting is there's the parts where, and I think this is the point of the film, is that you get to see his radio broadcast at times. What are you giggling at over there?
Oh, the reaction of our phone a friend.
Well, hang up on him. Anyways, is when they have the music overlapping when the troops are out doing their formations and things like that, and you can see them kind of dancing and laughing and having a good time. And that's really what the whole point of this thing was, is that the general or commander, I don't remember if he was a general or
He was
commander.
General Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was pointing out that the reason he's bringing this guy is so that the troops can have a lightheartedness, because you don't get to listen to radio all the time. But when you're back and relaxing in some private time, you get to listen to the radio. Why do you want it to be boring and sad and stupid?
I wonder how many people just off themselves with all the polka.
Yeah.
Right? And the worst bit in history. I hate watching people bomb in movies. So that scene was really hard.
I thought the Frenchie thing was funny because the reason we were in Vietnam was from the French.
Yeah.
No, I got
So you
that,
should
but
have a little
still.
Frenchy friend. Ho, ho, ho.
By the way, I think this movie has one of the greatest soundtracks of the 80s.
Yeah,
I
I
love-
was gonna bring that up.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I actually want to buy the soundtrack just for that.
His imitation of James Brown was
Oh, yeah.
incredible. Absolutely.
Well,
I love the
thought
beats
the-
of sweat too.
I thought the funniest thing was him when he took the Nixon track.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Because in there, how would you describe your testicles
Yeah.
Shallow.
That
and
was
your
great.
sex life?
That was great. The tape was great.
I wonder how much of this, like, if any of that actually happened in the real Vietnam.
I
Probably not.
doubt it because Adrian Cronauer, the real Adrian Cronauer, is actually quoted saying that if he did half the stuff that Robin Williams did in the movie, he would have been discharged.
Oh yeah,
Which he wasn't. He was actually, his time on tour was actually up, so he
I guess
got let go.
I guess specifically I meant the music. Because I think that'd have to be the worst thing ever, to be in combat, want to relax, and instead of good music, you get
You hear the
polka.
polka.
If there's a reason to go MIA or AWL, it would be polka. No offense to everybody. Exactly.
Yeah.
Might start a third World War.
I don't know.
Got to be from the Midwest, man.
Yeah, you got to let go on the polkas.
Got to play those accordion things.
yeah, that's psychological warfare.
That's very, very, very true.
So our phone a friend was mentioning about how about the relationship.
Oh,
How about
with,
the relationship with
Dave,
the long
just call
Vietnam
in, man.
watching it grow, and how he saves Williams from the bomb in the restaurant.
Just
didn't we discuss that already?
well, we
did.
kind of
We didn't discuss the
we
relationship.
glanced over
No,
it, but
I do think the relationship is actually probably one of the most important key parts of the movie.
what happened is when the realization that this young boy that he's made a friend with was a VC, and that the bombing of the bar happened because he brought the kid in and all of that. When that realization hit, that's when the movie actually took the big turn.
Yeah, it did.
And you know, all of a sudden, wow! I mean, this is. Yeah, I thought this kid was a friend, and it turns out really wasn't, or was he?
Well, I see,
Right? That's one of those deals.
And the end of the movie, I actually thought that was probably the best speech in the entire movie when the VC kid was going, "I'm not the enemy, you are."
Yeah.
And I thought right there that was the greatest speech, because that's not something you would expect to hear, and especially in an American movie,
But-
about how we were kind of the enemy in some
Well, in a
ways.
Vietnam movie, no, that's not unusual.
But it
Especially
was,
with Hollywood.
it was really only like that and had that kind of tonality because it was made so many years after the
Yeah.
war.
Oh yeah,
I'll give you that.
Totally.
Have a little bit of distance from it and can judge it, you know, a little more, you know, from a historical standpoint.
Well, having been the only one that could
Alive.
have been there, all right. Okay, I'll.
Hippie.
Okay, and having a lot of friends that went, and I was fortunate that I didn't have to go. It was a terrible, terrible police action, as they called it. They never wanted to call it a war.
Yeah.
And this was the first time in United States history where civil disobedience really stood up, and we said as one that we got to get the heck out of this thing. We don't belong there. We're not really fighting communism. And by the way, don't forget that's why we were supposedly there, to stop
Right.
communism. And it was just we were slaughtering guys that never, you know, when you have a draft and you're forcing people to do things that they really don't want to do, they're not the most effective, and that's been proven. And it was scary in hell. When your number was being called, it was like, oh my God, where am I going to end up? You know. So you're either fortunate enough to have a skill, such as
Radio.
radio in that situation, or something else that may have been safer than being out on the line and being a frontline troop. So yeah, it was almost a flashback. I mean, it was kind of like thinking back to that period of time, and I can't tell you the feeling. of what we really went through and what it took to get us out of this war.
What's interesting to me about this movie as opposed to other movies set in Vietnam, first of all, it's freaking hysterical, and that you don't usually find.
Unless it's a very bad version.
It's one of the most personal stories that really, instead of focusing on the war, that was really just a backdrop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And until he had a personal stake in what was kind of going on, everything was sort of just being heard about, and he was there for the morale
and the girls.
And
the girls.
Yeah, and the girls. That was my favorite scene in that movie.
There she is again! Look at how fast she is!
It's so funny.
No, I think
Better hurry up before she accelerates!
I would also say that he was also making...
focused on this guy's
Ryan's
sort of... Point. Okay, I'm here for morale, and then now I see what's really going on here. His total perception changes, at like the 2/3 mark, the movie.
Yes.
I would, I totally lost my comment. Never mind.
No, the point is there was two distinct portions of this movie where there was
Act 2.
There was the happy, the laughs, the craziness, the zaniness of Robin Williams, and then there was the serious side.
Yeah.
So you had
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
I really like. I really have to agree with Ryan because I really like how everything to him was fun and games. He was goofing off like he was back in Greece, and as soon as the bomb hit, that's when it dropped, and he was like, "I'm not safe."
Yeah, this shit isn't funny anymore.
Yeah, and I really like that. Like, I love the personal story of how everything was.
Well, I mean,
changed.
It really kept him out of the political nature of making a Vietnam movie and brought it into, this is what happens when this shit happens to you as a person,
And I also think that's why this is held up as much as it did versus other ones. There's one like Assault and Fire Base Bravo or something like that was with the Arlie Ermy.
Okay.
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah,
Full Metal Jacket.
I don't think holds up. Well, see, Full Metal Jacket holds up for a different reason. I think this holds up good because just like Full Metal Jacket, these movies are very personal. It's not as much a war movie as a more character study, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I would say Full Metal Jacket really wasn't a movie so much about Vietnam as much as it was about the Marine Corps.
I agree.
And
it was about the interaction, and
character study.
And this movie, Good Morning Vietnam, had a little bit of it as well, where Williams' character was not welcomed in by either the master sergeant or the lieutenant, who didn't like him and tried everything they could to get rid of him. And that general stood up and protected him as long as he could.
Yeah.
I mean, the zaniness got too zany.
Which I gotta add. Oh, and our phone a friend, and the way the news is being filtered.
And
the way the news is being filtered.
It
goes by Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
It goes back to the VP and the VIP part. What was really accurate being shared about what was going on.
No, that's true, and that's exactly what did happen. The news to the troops was being filtered.
Yeah, well, you don't want troop morale to drop. That's the biggest thing that they were trying to do, but troop morale was bad.
Anyway. Yeah,
which is weird because I guarantee everybody knew everything. It was like the world's worst kept secret because I guarantee the guy in the field knew, oh, hey, Bravo Company, whatever, just got their ass killed. They knew stuff was happening.
They didn't know it all.
No,
they kept it
but they had to know
in a
something.
compartment. Each area is in each mission.
They had to know enough to realize, the guys in the field had to realize this ain't going as good as they say it is.
Well, and not only that, but as soon as as soon as those rumors circulate, that shit gets blown, way bigger than it really is. So
it's the telephone game.
Yeah, it's the telephone game.
Yeah, I like the thing of when he's on the air and he's messing around and he just kind of goes, and he has that, I forget what that was supposed to be. I don't think it was supposed to be Gomer Pyle when he was talking to, I think it was supposed to be the Army, but he says something along the lines of, oh, I heard you have a pot problem in Vietnam. We don't have a problem.
Yeah.
Everybody has it.
Yeah,
exactly. I also want to add our phone friend. The comment was they did not want to paint a true picture of war for the fear of what it would do to the troops back in the States.
Yeah,
true. And I would also add,
we all knew
the first war that was really televised.
Yeah, Dave, I don't agree with you on that.
And I also want to say I love this movie's incredibly quotable. Honestly, my favorite quote is really at the end of it, when Adrian Cronauer is basically getting told, you're going to leave, or or something, but it was the. Oh,
Do you want the phone number?
Sorry, it says the comment. The great quote was, "You are in more dire need of a blowjob than any white man in history."
Yeah.
I love the quotes in this movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch the movie and look up the quotes, because sometimes you miss it because how fast the show
I was going to
delivery
write some down. There was a couple in here that I really wanted to do that he was doing off the cuff as he was talking on the radio. And the pot one was just the one that kind of stuck out at the end. But yeah, there's a bunch of just amazing quotes, and that's the big thing about Robin Williams. When he's doing the ad lib, when he's playing off the cuff, and he's having a great time, there are so many quotes that you can't keep up.
And I've never seen a man be able to play off himself before, which, by the way, is an amazing feat. So, James, what do you give this movie?
Sorry, I was kind of contemplating you watching a man play with himself.
I said playing off himself, you jerk.
He did say that. He did say off.
Anyway.
So, what do you give
I give it a 3. This was a solid 3.
Ryan?
A 3, only because I understand it doesn't hold up. I saw it when I was young enough and was enough of a fan of Robin Williams that, that kind of carried me through this many years. But it'd be a little hard to show it to, to a contemporary audience.
Rob?
I'm just trying to digest Ryan's comment. I'm going to give it a 4.
Oh.
And probably more because I could relate to it more than you guys can, and the seriousness of it and the interpretation that Williams was able to bring to this movie for me, and it's just his incredible sense of humor and his ability to do what he does.
Yeah.
Just that, for me, that alone, it's a 4.
I actually gave it a 4 too. I can't really relate to the movie, honestly, because I'm not that old. But I do. I love the juxtaposition of this movie, and to me, Robin Williams was a plus on this movie, because I think this would have been a good movie without him, because you get to see somebody who doesn't see, who didn't get war, didn't understand the war, then being introduced in it. I really like that.
Yeah.
This is a great movie. So definitely a 4 out of 5. And now we're going to switch to Firefly episode 4, and I'm going to let James.
Well, actually, technically, I have to do an apology for the last week. We did not actually follow the way that it's in the box set. We actually did, I guess, the way that it was released. My mistake. But actually, this episode 4 is actually technically one where they go to the ballroom, they dress up,
Yes.
and they kind of break into the scene. We actually did the episode
Yes.
after that, which is his future
And
wife.
To cut in a
Okay.
bit, our phone a friend gives Robin Williams Good Morning Vietnam a 4 out of 5.
Thanks, Dave.
Are
Good
we
job.
taking people's input out
I
there?
guess we are.
We don't care about your rating. I'm sorry.
Hey,
Anyways,
he's
back to
taller than
Firefly.
you.
Back to Firefly. That's right.
Only for a little bit longer. Yeah, so this one is
Cotillion
one
is
where
what they were at.
and I think this one really shows how Malcolm Reynolds can be a jerk.
Okay.
And I
true.
really think
A
that's
well-meaning
really what
jerk.
this
That's
episode is. It shows his lack of sensitivity.
Yes.
But I think I would
audience doesn't.
I would add, I think it's insensitivity due to the fact he realizes that they need money. So it wasn't. I think he just wanted to get the job and get over and done with.
Yes,
versus
he
just to be a
did.
jerk to be a jerk.
But he was being insensitive to his fellow crewmates,
True.
Yes.
which he did try to make up for later
did.
on.
By defending her honor.
Well, no, buying the dress.
We're talking
know.
about Kaylee, not
Kaylee,
the
I
whore.
know.
yeah, and Kaylee, and I guess that was kind of a turning point for him when he
Yeah.
realized that oh my gosh, I really did hurt her feelings, and
Yeah, I think once he realized that, he came back and was kind of like, all right, yeah.
I think it was the dress. Sorry, and I would also say to the companion. I love the scene where he talks about I'm belittling your career, but I'm defending you.
Her career, it doesn't matter. You sleep with people for money, you're a whore. It doesn't matter how you dress it up and what
Okay,
you call
Malcolm.
it, companion, anything, you're a whore.
Is the word for it.
Yeah. The word describes her job.
I kind
I'm
of
sorry.
prefer woman of ill repute, but okay.
You can go down and dancing and all you want, but once it's over, you start stripping off your clothes. You're a whore. Here's your money. Anyways, but that's really what I feel like this episode is. It shows how, yes, he can be. He's not sensitive to people's emotions.
Oh no, not at all.
So that's kind of where I was on.
He's a.
What the hell is that?
Jackpot.
Very, very simple.
That was a horrible jackpot.
That was bad.
It was
Still
like
going.
that was horrible. I was like, what the hell am I
Just
hearing?
ruined
Sorry.
the episode.
Yeah, I did. Teach me to play with buttons.
Yeah.
You bastard!
Well,
You killed Kenny.
I'm the professional soundboard guy here.
Anyways, yeah, I agree, Ryan. So,
But you know what?
What
I
we doing?
still love this series.
I do too.
You know, you didn't?
I said I do too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I love it.
What?
And
You're out of here.
don't forget.
That shit sucks.
Don't forget about the best part: the cheesy Western style fighting.
Oh, it's great.
Oh,
It's
that
so
wasn't even
fun.
Western style. That was more like Ryan, help me out here. Turn of the century style dueling thing.
No, there was the Western bar
dishonored
fight.
my-
There was the bar fight in the beginning. It
Oh,
was
okay,
a Western
the bar
style.
fight, yeah.
Yes.
Anytime a
I
table
thought you were
fight-
talking about when they went out to
No, the
No.
sword
to duel
fight's a different
swords at
thing.
dawn,
Right.
you know,
And
type
so-
thing.
Right.
So,
Yeah, no, that was a little more musketeerish.
Yeah.
Thank you.
and just to let everybody know that we do have a Facebook page. Is there a movie you want to do? Is there a theme, or do you want to give one of us hate mail? I promise, if it's funny enough, we will read it on air and probably belittle you just a little.
And the phone a
A lot.
friend,
One of
phone
you
a friend will
bastards
bug us
listening
too.
right now, so we expect at least one like.
Yeah, jerk off.
That'd be nice. Jeez.
And I got
for rating our movies.
I got a question for the one true comic book fan involved in RFR, which is Brian, because he still reads them. So allegedly,
You read
the
comic
franchise, the franchise might do the Civil War in the Marvel universe.
The franchise is going to do the Civil War.
The Marvel Civil War, you know, where they had Avenger versus Avenger, and
Really?
I wanted to see what you thought, because that one had me interested and horrified, and I wanted to see what you thought. It's kind
is
of
Wolverine in it? No, that's Marvel.
No.
Okay, so are we talking about like an animated feature?
No, they might turn, like with the Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, it might turn into the Civil War.
Whoops.
Because in the... Well, apparently, Ryan...
Just, I mean,
Yeah, I'm lost here, John.
Well, I thought Ryan would know what the Marvel Civil War is, because it's one of the biggest storylines within the last 5 years.
shit, I
of
haven't
Marvel.
read everything.
Okay, well, there we
But
go.
you know,
Next.
Wow.
okay, so you're saying it's Avengers against Avengers?
Well, no, what it was...
That's
is
what you
kind
made it
of-
sound like.
What it kind of turns into in the Marvel Civil War, if I remember correctly, is they're forced to give up their secret identities. And so Spider-Man goes out there, if I remember correctly, rips off his hood and says, "I am Peter Parker," and it becomes like an anti-superhero, like registration crusade type of thing.
Okay, so it's
I'm
like
kind of killing it, but this
so
is
it kind of goes back. Well, it doesn't really matter if you're gonna ruin the plot or not. The plot's already out there. Read the comics.
yeah. True.
So it's like what they were doing with the Mutant Registration Act.
That's what it. Yeah, it's kind of what it seemed to me when I was kind of going over the
But
synopsis
during
of
the
it.
Civil War?
No,
Yeah,
it's the Civil War because it's a civil war within the Marvel universe.
Oh, okay. Now I got it.
That's awesome.
No, Wolverine would be the only one that was alive for the Civil War.
How the fuck does this have anything to do with the Civil War?
Yeah, I'm totally lost.
They're
I'm the
gonna
old guy
dress up
here.
in uniforms and reenact it.
I'm sitting there going,
Released in 1860?
yeah, I'm going,
Well, hey,
Jeez.
maybe, since Wolverine's gonna die for the final time, maybe that's a perfect time to kill him.
well, that's why I even said
Well-
that, because he's been around so long.
But does Wolverine really have a secret identity? Because he doesn't really know it.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate question. It's hidden from himself.
Wow, that's
What?
It's true. That's true.
Anyways,
Well, okay, so what a way to wrap up the show. Thank you, John, for all that wonderful news.
do we have more? Or was that it?
wow. That's you guys are kind of jerks, man.
Well, the audience is dying. I haven't heard a ding from the phone-a-friend for a while, so
He's-
obviously we
he's-
lost him, too. So
No, he's probably still there trying to figure out what the hell I was talking about.
he's just not talking
That
anymore.
wasn't me, buddy. Put me back.
Know your place.
Go to your place.
So
What is that?
So I said know your place.
Oh, know
so
your
apparently, since I really butchered the one news that I was hoping Ryan would kind of carry me on, so Ryan failed and I miserably
Yeah,
failed.
thanks for just
Yeah.
throwing it.
Throwing you under the bus.
We need a pre-show show is what we need.
And
Or,
so-
or we need an after-show show.
Watch out for that oil leak.
Maybe it's the pomade in his hair. So next week is James's pick.
So, I decided that there's a lot of great Robin Williams films that he did drama in, like Insomnia, and a few other ones. But, I decided that I was going to go with one that I had never seen. And supposedly, as far as I know, that it's more drama than comedy, but Toys.
Oh,
wow.
Gosh. I forgot about that movie.
Really? How can
I
you-
saw it.
How can
I've
you
never seen it.
How can you forget about Toys?
I don't think I've ever seen it either.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Whoa, wait. I was expecting John to not have seen this one.
You
No,
haven't
I-
seen
I-
Toys?
I-
It's Robin freaking Williams. Of course I've seen Toys.
So anyway,
Under
Yeah.
my radar.
yeah.
By the way,
And
this
I'm aware of the film.
And-
I don't think I've ever seen the movie.
and by the way, LL Cool J is in this movie.
Woohoo!
Well, now I can't wait.
Of course.
I know, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Hey.
Can I
like
change
him.
it now? No, I'm
No,
kidding.
NCIS Los Angeles. I
Nope,
like
nope, too
him.
late. You picked it.
I'm down. I
Please.
actually am interested enough to see this film, so.
Well,
Yeah.
That's good. So, ladies and gentlemen, I gave... The hell was that?
That's yours pick.
A gong?
The gong.
Is the gong show now?
It's the gong. See, that's him.
Jeez. Welcome to This Week in Sound Effects. So I gave the movie Good Morning Vietnam a 4 out of 5. James gave it a 3 out of 5. Ryan gave it a 3 out of 5. Rob gave it the correct 4 out of 5. Next week's movie is Toys and Firefly Episode 5.
Yes, which is actually the wife episode.
And as usual, we'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Goodbye.